It's the Vibe working office hours. Hold on, look at me. I'm just playing it on my phone to make sure it works. I'm probably getting all this feedback.
I'm vibed from that intro music. That was sick.
Yeah, it's Vibe. It's Vibe working office hours. As I like to do, just testing different formats of live streaming lately. And who do I call other than Mark Szymanski? I was gonna throw some things out there, but this is a PG show at 2:19 p.m. on a Tuesday. What have you been up to, man? How's things?
Great, man. Building my new studio with my bare hands.
Yeah, what's taking so long? I saw some
Have you ever
update
built
photos.
have you ever built a damn thing in the real world? You ever built anything?
Yeah,
Floors, primer, paint, deciding on
painting.
shit.
I really don't. Yeah.
I got to decide on what color I want to paint these walls. I was gonna paint them dark, like almost like a black color, and then Christian Taylor told me, I don't know about that. So
Okay.
you got to figure out the whole setup. Plus, I got to actually do other work too. So it's tough. Got a lot of working on a lot of things. Other than that,
What are you gonna do for the
stuff?
like lighting and stuff like that? Like, what's the plan for like making this different, like a different feel? Unless you're not going for a different feel.
I'm going for a non-bed in my background. That's my main goal.
Fair enough.
But I have like, I'm looking at an Elgato key light there that I could use. I have 3 like Amazon, like GVM, like softbox things that I can use. I can like hang sorts of stuff. Mainly just a better vibe and something that I can just feel a little bit better about. Kind of like spin up and get going. Also probably going to up the quality a little bit. I mean, this is a Sony ZV-1. It's like fine, but there's a good chance I'm going to end up, actually purchasing, what do you got? The A7, AR7, 5, whatever it is. A7R, A7 5.
I have multiple cameras. This one is an A7 III, and in my studio, I have an A7 IV. A7 IV. They're really good. They're pretty much overkill, but I had recently, I'm in my bunker studio. That's what I like to call this place, which is in my basement, and it's when I work from home. I recently bought this thing, which I was like, oh, like let's be like the cool kids and buy all this like DJI stuff, and it's a webcam. It's the Insta360 webcam.
Hate it?
Nah. Yeah.
Hates it?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Like, it's really cool in the terms of like DJI always has some cool stuff. Like, I got the microphones over there that we use at PressConf. And that's like really cool. It's like this magnetic base. You can pop it right on. It sticks right on it. It's got that 1/8 inch thread that you can screw down onto anything, and then I can rotate it, which is really cool. And it's just all magnets, right? But it's tight. It's it's strong. But it's webcam quality. Like there's no you watch all these reviews and people are like, oh, it's amazing. It's so good. And it's just like the camera quality on my iPhone, if I just use the continuity camera, is far superior than the DJI, obviously, because it's a webcam. But you would just think 1/2-inch sensor, everyone's like talking about it, but you can't believe any of these reviews that you see on YouTube. And that's the issue.
Yeah, I have the Elgato prompter sitting in the box on my floor right now because I want to do that. But that's another thing is I'd like to do a lot more, obviously conversation formats like this. And currently my camera is like above my monitor, so I might have to swap that situation around as well. Just going for a little bit of a fresh vibe because I think I really need to recenter myself, especially in my content, because I need to provide more value and actually just turn the fucking camera on more often. And I'm not doing that right now.
Why do you have that feeling?
Probably lower view count on videos and live streams is like just a completely, like objective measure, but just in general, like, I mean, I've gone over the course of the trajectory, like, all the shows that we've done together and things like that. I've, obviously gotten more opportunities to create, you know, like partnered, sponsored content and things like that, which is great. I'm still welcoming that, but I'm just in the growing phase right now of trying to figure it all out. You know, I try to, you know, have a good plan as I go into things, but then I obviously don't know everything before I do it. So I just feel like I've kind of like shifted away from value first and thought more about, you know, some of the sponsored content kind of like going in there. And it's like, it's a fine art. You have to like really be, we are vibe working. You have to really be careful in the way you do that. Cause I think you get burned out really quickly. Cause then you're just looking at products and shit. And while it is somewhat fulfilling and money is nice and money is important because this is a make money year for Mark. But at the same time, it's like I'm just trying to find a good blend of all that because it's difficult. So I'm working through that currently is where I am.
Do you think you're going to change your core content creation? Well, focus. I mean, I know you're trying to get a little bit more focus and dial in on that profitability, but does that mean that you're going to create a whole different segment? You're going to branch out, or you're going to double down on turning that camera on and talking about WordPress?
Well, you know, this whole experience has been extremely introspective. I mean, obviously, you just grow in general, and if you're introspective, then you could learn from anything. But for me specifically, just creating content, still doing the agency stuff, which has been actually really good because I've been actually selling to current clients more and new clients. Everything is going like in the right direction. I just am trying to kind of, I typically try to fix things as they're happening, which I don't know if that's the best. So regarding the content, what I'm trying to do is I've tried to experiment and do a lot of things over the past 2 years. And I'm trying to really now like take a step back and actually focus on, or try to like do introspection and understand what I'm actually good at and what I actually kind of like to do, but more so like what I'm actually good at and what's worth my time. So like, you know, some high level things. I don't want to edit videos. I don't want to make thumbnails. Like just trying to like, those are stupid little things, but like those are the things that I am just genuinely not good at. They don't fulfill me. I do them because I am a jack of all trades and I can do things, but that's really not where I should be getting better at. Most of my day is spent with like these nuanced questions of, should I really be doing this? Like, and I've never actually, even with the agency stuff, like I've never actually fully taken that to heart and understood like, hey, maybe I should like just do the things that I am really good at and delegate the other things. The trouble with that is you need to have obviously money, which is, again, we're headed in that direction now. But again, we're just in the middle of it. So that's why I'm still navigating it. So with my content, the one thing I know for absolute certain, anybody who watches this and you know this, I could talk all day, every day. Mm-hmm. So I'm never going to stop talking. I don't have a problem turning on the camera necessarily. It's just, when I'm, for lack of a better term, fucked up with the way that I'm approaching the content, it's not good. But I could talk about anything, and I will always continue to turn this camera on. Right now, I'm just in the transition period with the studio thing, but and I have other things that I've let, you know, just kind of amass that I'm hanging on with here, that I'm doing. So
I wonder what it is about the video editing part that you don't like. Is it, you know, you've made like screencasts before and you're just like, hey, this, you know, I've got this 45 minutes of content and now I have to go and edit all this stuff. Like, is there something specific about like, I get it. Like I get like the time and like, okay, I want to like delegate that and move on. But I'm curious about like what exactly about the editing really drives you nuts.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, like, so I'll take a example right now. Before we hopped on, I had DaVinci open, and I had, you know, an hour and a half episode that Christian Taylor and I did at PressConf, where we, you know, filmed ourselves in the courtyard talking about everything. And I love the content. I love talking about that. I love having that conversation, and I think it's valuable. But me sitting there and just like figuring out the edits, not even like there's nothing even crazy going on in that. Just like finding the spots, doing all the audio processing because it's outdoors and those DJI mics are only so good. So you got to take them through Auphonic. You got to do all that. Just like that type of stuff. And then also like any time where I have to do anything with either a keyframe or just like adding in like little lower thirds is just like, this is annoying. I know I can make this process better because I've done a lot of video editing in my life. I am not like as creative as I think people think I may be, or just think that YouTubers are in general, or people that people that turn on the camera. It's like, oh, you make videos, you must be extremely creative. No, bro, I'm not. I'm much more like logical and operational than I am creative. That doesn't mean I'm not going to make videos, but that just means that like, it's like somebody else should be probably in charge of making me look good if that's possible. Because that's just not how. I'm just trying to learn myself really more than anything, and really where I should be kind of headed. And I would encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I spent like same thing, like with you, I spent a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of money on like foolish video stuff. Like even right now, in the bunker basement office, I've bought all kinds of new gear here just to mount this camera because I have a different desk. It's totally different than my my studio, which is a co-working space. And I've often found like I have issues with like every place that I record, right? Mm-hmm. And it is so like what a lot of people don't get in the beginning is, for example, you have your camera set up. Like I said, I've bought so many cameras, like foolishly, like constantly like searching for the next thing. That's a whole other discussion on like camera technology and stuff like that. I think it peaked at the Sony A7 III, which is what this camera is, full frame, affordable now anyway, now. Great image quality, fast and photos and stuff like that. And, but what happens is like if you don't have a dedicated space, this is a long way of answering what I think is one of the issues. But if you don't have a dedicated space, having the camera set up all the time, having the lighting set up all the time, microphone, everything plugged in, it's such a drain every time to come in and set up, even if it's just a few minutes every single time. Yeah. Right, because it just changes everything, and it's constantly changing. Like right now, I have my laptop. I'm already thinking, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just get a Mac Mini for this desk, because I literally don't want to come in and have to plug all this shit into my laptop, set up, get organized, and then get to work. I just want to get to work when I sit down. It sounds like it sounds kind of stupid to like say that, but until you're doing content every single day where like you just need to get in the headspace of I've got what I need to do and I just need to process it, these little things can really weigh you down. And I think once you can just find, what I'm getting at is like once you can find that one piece of content that you can just keep doing over and over again without the variables, like a vlog style video, outdoors, lighting, sound, that's totally different than when Mark live streams in his bedroom, and soon to be basement. So, once you can get in the mode of like finding that piece of content that you can create over and over again without the distractions and without the variables, I think the editing process becomes a little bit easier because you're just accustomed to it, right? I mean, this is like basic stuff, but I think as creators, we're always like thinking about like, okay, let me try this whole new thing now, outdoors and all that. Where I landed a lot with like my tutorial stuff on the tutorial channel is mentally the only thing I aim for is 8 to 10 minutes. Can I do 8 to 10 minutes uninterrupted with the least amount of editing possible? Which, on paper, it might not generate the best videos of all time, but that is the best way for me to lessen the friction of the whole thing, because I would rather delete a video and start over than have to record 15 minutes and then bring down to 8 minutes. And I do this quite often. I did this yesterday for Gravity Forms, creating another video. I will be halfway through a video and I'll just say, nope, delete, and start again. Because I don't do anything scripted, for better or worse. I mean, like 10% of the content I put out might have a script. Like when I'm on my office, I have the teleprompter. Mm-hmm. But when I'm doing a tutorial or anything like that, it is 90% of the time just off the cuff. And oftentimes my edit is just a whole new retake, which means that I could take 4 times to get a 10-minute video and waste an hour recording. But I would rather just do that, knowing my only edits might be things like punching into the screen at certain points that, just making those kinds of edits, and less about like the content and material edits, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just giving you my, like, this is how I process this stuff.
Well, for sure. I mean, that's a good, I mean, I don't know, people would say that's good or whatever, but I like that style. I mean, that's more or less kind of what I do. The problem is I don't know if I've ever made a 10-minute video. So like, it's always like 30 minutes, and that's, possibly my fault or whatever, rambling too much, giving too much context, whatever it is. But it's always seems like, if you look at the channel, it seems like it's always, if the screen is being shown, it's probably over like 30 minutes. I've done a couple where I just sit down and talk. I'm very capable of doing that, and it's great, but that's a different thing. So, that's the other thing too. We can get into that too, about like the tutorial content and those types of things. But, the example that I gave, it was like an hour 30 podcast, and, I wanted to double check some of the audio stuff. I had some pieces that I had to add little, lower thirds to in certain areas. It's just like that type of stuff where, realistically, if you asked anyone business-wise, it's like, should I be doing this? Probably not. Like, do I want to do it? If I wanted to do it, it would be different. If I wanted to do it and I loved video editing, and it's like, oh, you should delegate that. It's like, no, you don't. I'm not going to say it's like, oh, but I don't like it, and I probably shouldn't be doing it, and I'm not that good at it. Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm eventually going to get to that point. Maybe not right now, but that's that thing. The other thing I wanted to hit on real quick, because you kind of talked about it with the space and like coming in. I've always done that. I've always tried to be as like minimal, essential as possible. Like essentialism, minimalism was a big thing for me. Back when I was spending all my money when I was in college, like buying stupid shit. And then I decided, I'm going to need to sell a lot of this. So when I buy, like, when I bought this microphone, I sold the old one. Like, that's just kind of how I operate now. So I do have like a relatively concise level of things. And I do agree that it does help when you're just able to turn it on. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just not super comfortable with the space. But the other big thing, and this is where I want your years of wisdom to come into play, because I'm learning this heavily about myself over the last 2 years, is all of us are pretty much like working from home in some capacity now. I don't think that I like get like necessarily lonely working from home, but without like I talk to a lot of people, but without like an actual team, and without actually going anywhere, without having co-working space, without doing any of that, I think sometimes my extrovert battery does kind of wane, because I feel like if you and I were like in an office, even if we weren't working on the same shit, I feel like I would be doing more work for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just like a natural drive thing or whatever. So, that's another thing that I've kind of learned about myself, is that, or at minimum, ever since I started businesses and doing all that sort of stuff, obviously like when I was living at my parents' house, my bedroom was my whole space as well. So like I've never had like a separate space. So that's why I'm extremely excited to finish the studio situation, so I could just like go in my basement to my office and work. And it's like I leave almost a little bit. So I don't know if you've ever had any experiences like that, or what your mindset is around that. But I think that's another thing that I'm looking
like around the
to.
space particularly. Like
I mean, like, could you work from home could you never see anyone forever? I mean, like, do you feel like you get enough social interaction when you go to your co-working space and stuff?
I mean, sometimes.
Or is it just enough? Or is it just enough of a change of scenery that it's enough?
Yeah, no, it's certainly the change of scenery that's enough, and like the process of leaving the house, taking a shower, getting dressed.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
Yeah. The challenges that I have is for many years, well, ever since I started the YouTube channel, I've either been way up in my attic, which is extremely hot in the summertime, extremely cold in the wintertime. Yes, there's heat up there, but when it's, 12 degrees in New England, it's, I'm just cranking the electric heat for no apparent reason. And in the summertime, it is just extremely hot. And even with an AC unit, it just nowhere near keeps up, right? This is like an attic convert it into
Yeah.
a room. And then I'm going to face the same thing down here in this basement, right? Because there's just a dehumidifier or whatever. So it's always been hard for me to find a consistent, good studio for YouTube. And my previous co-working space, was a dedicated office. It was a little bit bigger office. I think it was like I don't know, whatever it was, 12 by 14. This is a 10 by 12 office that I'm in. And the issue is still my own perfectionism of just not good audio quality. And because the ceilings are also 15 feet high, which is an issue. And it's an old it's an old school building that was like converted into like apartments above, and then down below is the co-working space. So to answer the first part, yes, it's great co-working space. Kitchen, shared food. Every first Tuesday of the month, it's free member lunch day, which I actually went in today and grabbed a slice of pizza because I had to get something from the office, which was cool. Yeah, you see people, and there's always like after hours events and stuff like that. So yes, sort of like fulfills that seeing other people thing, which is cool, and going to work and having a dedicated space away from the house. But from the like YouTube production side of things, like I envy that you'll have a dedicated room that is, something that you can turn into a studio, because I've never really had that since I started doing YouTube. It's always been like, never really liked doing it in the attic. It was impossible at times. Down here, it's the same thing. Like, this is just a corner of my unfinished part of the basement, so I can't really do anything with it. And at the office, at the co-working studio, I'm still just hampered by sound. I don't like the sound, and I don't like, the sound, because then I have neighbors and the walls are thin. So like when they're on their calls, like you can hear it through the microphone. And I don't know, there's like 50 apartment units above us. And I don't know, there must be like a laundry room above my office. So like every 45 minutes you will hear like a freaking train going by, but it must be somebody. It must be like a big cart that people are pushing like back and forth. I don't know. I know there's a gym on the other end, so there's like all these like things that just drive me nuts about recording there. Where I really like the sound here in my basement, but it's just my basement, and I can't really do anything else with it from like a YouTube production level. So I don't know. Nothing's ever perfect, I get, but if you can have a dedicated space in your office, in your home, then I think that's awesome, that you can set that up. It should be a big benefit to you.
I'm excited for it. Yeah, I just got to finish figuring out what I want to do there. I mean, like I said, figuring out paint color is annoying. Just don't want to waste money.
Cracked peppercorn.
Bro,
Peppercorn. That's
are you
what I
shitting
had.
me?
That's the one
Are
that
you
I had.
shitting me? Because I said, is that a marquee? Is that a Bear marquee? Because I literally was going to do cracked pepper.
Yeah.
I guess I have to now. Is it like
I got that from
almost a
Brian
black?
Richards. Yeah.
It's like almost black. Fuck. All right, well. Sold. There we go. That was easy.
Why did Kraler not want you to do a dark background?
He was just kind of saying like, you might have to, the lighting, it might absorb a lot of light. So like, are you saying you literally were in a studio, or where's that at?
That's my co-working space. I call it my studio, but it's my co-working office.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So like, does it work? Like having a black background? I mean, I was literally going to paint all the walls black.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't, in this studio, in this co-working space, I just have that black background, which is actually just,
like a piece of wood?
No, it's wallpaper
Oh.
that I put on the wall. In my old studio, I had the cracked peppercorn, and that I painted the whole thing. I painted my whole office that way, but I was also using I had a whiteboard in there, and I could do like whiteboard things, which was cool. But yeah, you have to, get lighting. I use that, the LED 120 watt. It's not the Apogee, which is like $700, but it's, I think it's newer, and I think it was a couple $100. Big softbox light, which helps. When you see me in the black background, that's what the setup is. It's pretty much just all the lights to like, make it work.
I mean, I got a sign up bonus that I need to hit for a new Chase business card. So like, I mean, I'm down to spend some money on shit, but but I just got to make sure that it's going to look good because like again, my current situation is, what up, Derek? My current situation is that I need to just get that done. One, but like I'm constantly like looking at every other studio that I see on YouTube just to kind of get a vibe of like, I've never decorated anything in my life. I've used like my background of this room. I used my background of, when I was at my parents' house, it was just whatever it was. But now having a room, it's almost like overwhelming because you know that you have a perfect setup right now. Like you have a perfect wall behind you. You can paint it whatever color you want. You could put a bookshelf back there, some fake plants, whatever the hell you want to do. So that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm just kind of like, I'd rather just do this once and then just have it good for a while. Then you gotta do you gotta do 3-point lighting. You got to do the little accent practical lighting back there, the little RGB lighting or something like that. Your space is nice. Like that's what I need to do.
Yes. Well, here's the key: is you don't have to do anything. In fact, no one is telling you have to do this. But I think I get what you're saying, and I fall into it too. It's like you're just like keep looking for that level of like production value, perfectionism, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I would just say like start shipping the content and worry less about it. And it actually might be interesting to see how the space comes together, like as you record and like as you build it out. Like I was supposed to do I was also background and like, putting all the like cool trinkets and like whatever Gravity Forms logos and stuff like that in the office, and now I just have this hat right there as the Gravity Forms logo. But yeah, like whatever, like you build it out over time, and as long as you're just like producing that helpful content, in my opinion, like that's what you should be doing.
Well, yeah, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's just like I want to. I need to focus on that part of it. And if some of that is going to revolve around like sponsored content, which again, I'm extremely fortunate to have those opportunities, but it's kind of like a vicious cycle in a way. It's like, you don't want to produce content like that and then have people not like, then have like, you get sponsored content, you produce sponsored content, but if it doesn't do well because it's literally sponsored content, then the company's not going to be happy, your audience is not going to be happy, and you're just going to be, kind of like screwed both ways there. So there's a level of elegance to that I'm trying to navigate, and obviously probably my own worst critic there, but I also, just trying to be cognizant of it.
Yeah, recently I had Eric Karkovac take over on doing like a lot of the like podcast editing and production stuff. It's not a lot of editing. It's through Descript, it's editing out some filler words. It's barely even that, because I don't even like doing that. I don't like doing that like heavy edit. Although Descript is coming out with a new feature that will make less harsh edits, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Otherwise, it's just like taking out every filler word and it's just choppy. It drives me nuts. But it's just some basic stuff that he handles for me, show notes, uploading it. So yes, like I totally get it. It's a massive time saver for me. And even if it's just 20, 30 minutes per episode, you add that up over time, especially with a full-time job. Like it's just way too much for me to handle. And I was thinking about that today. I'm like, holy shit! Like if I were editing these episodes that I have like in the queue now, I'd be losing my mind because I've been so busy at Gravity Forms. I'm like, I don't even know what I'd be doing. And I'm still, I haven't made a YouTube video for the tutorial channel in over a month, just because I've been so busy with stuff. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, if he wasn't doing the podcast, there'd be no podcast going out, or I'd be definitely more stressed out. Which leads me into, I did start to leverage Opus, which is another one of those things.
Did you use my affiliate link? Probably not.
I didn't know you had one. Do you use this?
Yeah, dude. I definitely told you about this. Definitely put you on. Keep going. Opus Clip. You're loving it.
like most things, I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Makes sense.
You know, I don't really like this, and I didn't like it while I was signing up to. I was like, I know I'm going to lose out here. Anything when you're building up credits to do things, to me, is just a lottery. And it's
just like tokens, dude. Come on.
Yeah,
You love
like-
tokens.
like, you know, I don't even know how, like, so right now, let me zoom in. Honestly, I don't even know how it works. So, so pro credits, 291, pro credits, 600. I don't even know what that means. Why do I have 2 pro credits?
I think it's minutes, but yeah, I think like it just looks like they're the same thing, but certain ones expire for some reason. Did you get like extra for like, maybe you got extra for signing up with something or
I don't
something
know
like that.
But I see this stuff and it drives me nuts, especially like it expires in 24 days. What does that mean? Does that mean
That
I
could be
paid you to do things with video, and if I don't do things with the video, I lose those credits? Because that's absolute horseshit, right? Right? I am here to use this as a video editing and social clip sharing service. I don't want to lose credits because you're not a consultant. You're not helping with me with any of that stuff. So
you have the monthly plan though?
yeah, I thought I had
Yeah,
a monthly
mine says expires in 214 days though, so that might be because maybe it's just a weird way of them saying it. You got to realize, like, I mean, a lot of these product owners, this is actually another topic we don't have to get into right now, but just like consulting on like UX, like I love that. Like if any product owners are out there and you want to chat with me, like let's chat. Like I love consulting on that type of stuff. Now that I've used so many products, I'm actively doing it for other companies. Like there's just, you wouldn't imagine, like even just like, I don't know the example here, but even like language like that, especially with like foreign product developers into English, like just things like that make, like you're just gonna have people like Matt Medeiros saying like, hey, why the hell does it say that? It's like, just because it's a weird translation, or it's a weird, like, you know, UX UI decision.
So anyway, like, yes, like I was never like into YouTube Shorts. I was just never about it. Like I never wanted to create YouTube Shorts in the sense of like, well, number one, it's always a time thing with me, right? It's just like I have a day job, so I'm not 100% content creator. Well, I am because I get paid to create content for my day job, but I'm not like doing it by myself or doing it on my own. And so I was never into like, I want to create shorts specifically. I never wanted to be, you know, on TikTok and doing all this other stuff because I don't like the content that just is like, kind of like goes away. But anyway, the point is what I like about Opus Clips, the things that I do like. Number one, the time saver, right? Mm-hmm. I have a Descript account. Descript could do this for me. I could go into Descript and they have an option that says find like all, I don't know what the hell. You could just type in a prompt and be like, find all the clips where, in this case, John talks about growing his agency. It would go through and just highlight a bunch of things, but then I would still be, you know, talking about saving minutes, which turn into hours, which turn into days. I'd have to go and, okay, here's all the highlights. Yeah. And then I have to put them into composition each. And then, okay, I'm going to edit it. And then if I want to promote it, now I have to go promote it into all of these other channels. And that was the big win for me for going to Opus, because now I can just say, oh, I like this clip. I can click on publish to social and it has everything queued up with, you know, okay, the cheesy tags and like cheesy headlines. But
that's not very good, but I always delete that. I never use those.
Yeah, and you can regenerate it. Like you can do a quick like regeneration, which is kind of cool. But from an overall time-saving perspective, freaking way better, right? And the shorts on this channel where we're live streaming, we're not live streaming on the tutorial channel. I mean, the shorts traffic is 10x, you know, what this channel normally gets. You know, and I hate to admit it. I really, really hate to admit it, you know, but yes, shorts work for those views. Is that translating to more subscribers? Subscribers are going up, but I'm also publishing shows, so I don't know. I'd have to look at the analytics of like the shorts and which shorts are bringing subscribers, which is nice about YouTube. You can kind of like drill into that data, which I haven't done. So anyway, that's nice. I don't, I just want to get out of this, confirm, exit. Editing the clip is cool. You can download it, export it to these different projects. I don't like how it has to reprocess and this is where I guess the credits come into play, because you can reprocess the video to go from vertical to square to 16:9, which is nice. Yeah, like I like it, but I feel like you have to do it all the time. Like I think I have a clip. Yeah, so like this one I already processed it to a 16:9. So let me click it again. Does it just automatically load it? Yeah, like I don't understand what it's doing right now. Like, is this reprocessing and using credits every time I do this? Because I already did a 16:9 and downloaded it. And now it's like reprocessing for 16:9 when I already did that. So, I mean, I see my credits are still at 891. I don't know if they're going to go away once this thing hits 100. So there's like some shitty things like that, which I don't really love. Editing clip actually works pretty good. You know, it's a little clunky, but
the timeline could be a little better. It's a little weird.
Like, yeah, it's a little clunky to like click on these things and like delete them and right click, or I guess you can't right click.
So here's a question though. Okay, so here I'm gonna tell you my dilemma for the last 6 months right here. Okay, my dilemma for the last 6 months, and you've probably picked up on this, but there's never been a good enough example as we're looking at right now. My channel was like Mark Szymanski, but ultimately it was like WordPress. And I've come to hate that in a way. Not that I hate WordPress, not that I hate the people of WordPress. It's great. But like I stumble upon Opus Clip and I'm like, fuck, man, this is like something that I could really, really love. I know it's a huge time saver. I know it's valuable. I know if I show people this, it would be valuable to them. So at minimum, I could make a video with an affiliate link. To take it a step further, I could reach out and see if they want to sponsor some content or something like that, right? Because that actually makes sense. Like that fully tracks, right? But but then immediately the problem becomes, wait, I can't do that. That's not like web design. That's not WordPress. That's some other shit that's like related, but is it related enough? This right here is the reason that I hate being a YouTuber. I am not wired to talk about one specific thing in perpetuity. I don't know. I cannot bring myself to do that. And that is something that I'm learning, because I knew I wasn't like that before. And then I started talking about WordPress. I was like, okay, this is great. Now I'm learning a bunch. But I do these phases where like I'm really deep into WordPress. Before this, I was really deep into remodeling my house in like 2020, 2021. I made 60 videos. I just unlisted them actually on the. I just published them back onto the channel literally yesterday, this morning, because I was like, I want to put my full content shit back out there, because like there's like I am a creator, I am a video creator, I am a talker, I'm a conversationalist, I'm an educator, but like I am not just this one thing, and I don't know if that means that I'm not going to be successful because I can't talk about one thing for fucking 10 years, but I literally can't do it. Like, I just amass skills and then I use those skills moving forward. But like, I don't just talk about them. And it's like, that's my biggest problem right now, which is, it causes a lot of other issues, because, how do you formulate an audience like that? How do you make sure that your audience is tight and you can actually market to things? I don't think it could really be, I don't know if I could really do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say, so this is something I launched recently. Expand your brand by being a podcast guest. So as you know, everyone, we were talking about podcasts at PressConf, and I constantly get asked about starting a podcast. And I have the podcast setup, which is another newsletter that I do. Although at like 2% of my time is how much I spend here. And I do want to, kind of build out more of that content on this site, but it's much more of like a podcast opinion site for me right now. But anyway, the point is, I also recognize that. I also want to branch more content to WordPress. I would say if you were covering Opus that is adjacent to WordPress, I mean, I say that anyone tuning into you is probably tuning in to you to learn something about WordPress to power their business. Their business probably uses social media. So covering Opus clips, in my opinion, is like totally fine.
Yeah.
You know? So like when you make these adjacent things, that's totally fine. Like I had a lot of time struggling to even put this out. Like people always know me about like running a podcast, and I was just like, do I do that? Do I want to do this? I was like, screw it. I'm just going to do it. It's a lead gen and it helps people in the WordPress community, yada, yada, yada. I think the trap is, especially YouTube and the algorithm and how YouTube can be so addicting to creators, is that once you do specialize and that algorithm hits on that specialization topic, whatever it is, like the one that blows up, like why am I doing AI stuff recently? Well, because every time I publish it, it gets the most views. And you just constantly lean into that because you look at it and go, well, it's growing my channel. Let me do it again. And I think your concept of like, I just want to broadcast all this stuff is the same reason why I was never like, I'm never going to do TikTok. I'm never going to do this shit that just disappears, is because I want a body of work that represents the content that I've put out. I think that is the particular challenge, and especially something that these platforms cultivate, is we only want to know Mark from WordPress. And when Mark gives us WordPress, when he dances for WordPress, we'll push him in the algorithm. And that's the part that sucks. You could say, I don't care. I'm going to have a generic channel so long as you're good with what I'll call is generic results. And only because my feeling is that's the way YouTube categorizes people. If they look at your channel and they go, this guy's all over the place, we don't know where to put him, so they don't put you anywhere. Versus if Mark just does AI videos, we know Mark is AI videos. Or you simply create another freaking channel, which is what I did on this channel where we're streaming, because I don't trust the YouTube algorithm to take my tutorial channel, which is like generally 8 to 10 minute videos and some live streams, and put that alongside a 45-minute audio or video conversation that I have with somebody about like being a WordPress entrepreneur. Because I think that YouTube's going to look at that and go, like you're like, oh, people only tune in for 2 minutes on this audio video that you uploaded. Well, time to bring you down the list, you know? And I don't want that to happen on the tutorial channel.
I hope that the algorithm continues to like prioritize almost like videos over, I don't know if it's doing this, but I hope it looks at videos more in a vacuum, I would hope, than like actual channels. But like, I don't really know if that's the case, because again, I'm thinking in my mind, what if you had like a channel, like one singular channel that talked about like AI, WordPress, and business, or something like that, like 3 topics that could all, you know, I don't know, like that could all stand on their own. But then it's like, well, should I like be Mark Szymanski and talk about all those things on one channel, or should I create 3 separate channels, like MJS Biz, I'm making this up, MJS Biz, MJS AI, and MJS whatever, WordPress? Like, which one of those options is better? Because I'm trying to balance those, like I'm trying to balance the algorithm bullshit with also like creating a brand around myself, which I know that you have experience obviously with, like kind of in the Matt Report, but I feel like when you did that, you were kind of like in the middle. You were making like a property, but also like entwining your name. We've heard the story obviously, right? So like, that's kind of how, that's not exactly how I'm treating Mark Szymanski, like the YouTube channel. Like that's just my channel. And like, if it gets big, that's great, but it's just a weird thing because it's like, I'm trying to think of examples, and I'm not really sure if there is like a generic example. It's probably not like that. It's probably you think of a person and then you immediately think of one thing, one niche. But then what happens, this has already happened to me though too, is like you think of one thing, but then as more people come into that niche that you're looking at, they do ultimately end up wanting to know more. But it's like a weird thing because at that point you're getting like just more, you know, more people know you and stuff like that. And then they're just naturally the human connection part comes out. So this is a very big game of like just psychology of human attention and behavior. And I like it, but it's at the same time, it's kind of exhausting when, you're dealing with algorithms and shit. So,
Yeah, one of the things that I think, hold on, I'm going to run a test here.
While you're doing that, Brad, yeah, everybody does use StreamYard. I like Restream personally. Maybe check that one out though too. StreamYard's not bad, but Restream's pretty dope.
How else can I test this? Can I do Apple?
We should jog. Yeah, we should have jogged. We should have went on a 5K while recording this up a mountain. Should have podcasted from up there. That was a wild time. Kind of crazy. What are we pulling up?
All right, so let's run this test. So this is something that, let's make sure there's no. All right. This will be the last topic that we cover, and then I got to go before the kids come home and start screaming. Speaking of great places to record YouTube videos. So, like that psychology thing, yes, it's immensely hard. It's good and bad, that brand building. The good thing is like once a brand sticks, it's pretty good. Like that's, if it's in your favor, then it's pretty good. So the Matt Report is something that's people still like reference me as, which I haven't published in quite some time. And, I think even Brian Richards introduced me at PressConf as the guy behind Matt Report, or the podcaster behind Matt Report. And I haven't done an episode of that show in like years. So it's been the WP Minute for like 5 years, I think, at this point. And so there's like the human side of it, which you're always like battling against. If you were to like Google WordPress podcasts, I forget to put an S on that, WordPress podcasts. Let's say top WordPress podcasts. There's the Matt Report. Still Google is seeing the Matt Report as one of these top WordPress podcasts. Let me zoom in a little bit. WP Briefing. WP Briefing hasn't happened in also forever, right? Since Josepha left. Hallway Chats. Bob's got a gazillion podcasts. Like, is Do the Woo Media Channel? Like, is that the one that he wants to rank for? WP Tavern makes sense. Kitchen Sink makes sense. WordPress Plugins A to Z makes sense. And then once you start going through like a lot of these blog posts, I can almost guarantee you that Matt Report is listed there. When you search WordPress on Apple Podcast, how the hell Jamie and Kevin rank here? I mean, it's an enigma, right? The way that Apple works, right? I can tell you it's just probably largely just by the amount of times they've used WordPress, and the show did one episode.
That's kind of crazy,
right? Like, Kevin, if you're out there, delete this. Make way for everybody else. So there's like all of these like pockets and these silos that people have to. I mean, WP Water Cooler, not in forever. Distributed by Mullenweg. I don't know when the last. Same thing. WP Briefing, WordPress Beginners. Love Syed, but I'm probably sure like he's ranking with a lot of SEO stuff here. I'm not sure.
How many shows of these? What's the total number of WordPress podcasts, and then what percentage of them are active? Like, are there enough WordPress podcasts to fill this, like active WordPress podcasts to like fill all this?
Yeah. So, and that's what brings me back to like one of the only things that I'm seeing as an advantage. Well, not only, but one of the advantages of AI search, at least with ChatGPT and at least with this query, is can you list all the popular podcasts currently active? This is ChatGPT 3.0, right? So it's the one that'll think a little bit more. So it's just news and community commentary, WP Minutes first. Freaking hallelujah, right? Finally, there's a property that lists me first. WP Builds, yes, with Nathan. Post Status, yes, with Michelle. WP Tavern with Nathan again, and WP Briefing again. To me, this is just, although it says right here, last release episode September 2024. Do the Woo, Kitchen Sink, A to Z, WP SEO Show, WP Cafe. Yep, these guys do it all the time. Agency Hour with Troy Dean, used to be WP Elevation. Notable shows that wrapped up or are on pause: Water Cooler, and at episode 485. Matt Report has been dormant since 2023. Yes, it has, in fact. That is a great result. Although 2023 was an episode that I had published from the WP Minute Plus, so it actually wasn't an original show. And, it's interesting to finally see results like this. This has been the biggest challenge with especially the phrase WordPress podcast, because you can run a podcast on WordPress. And that's always been a thing that's been tough for us out there. And throw yourself into the ring because you have a podcast now and maybe you want to ring for that. So I like what I see with AI, I guess is where I'm going, that it is analyzing this stuff more deeply than freaking Google, which is just going to be a collection of listicles being ranked, right? And because they have backlinks and because they've been trafficked, like these sites just are still there. Like here's WP Lift. Let's take a look at these results for top podcast. WP MMR podcast hasn't published an episode in freaking a decade, right? Joe Howard's not even in the WordPress space anymore.
Well, okay,
Matt
hang on,
Report.
though.
Here's my hero image from like 12 years ago.
What are we outraged about right this moment, though? Be specific.
Well, it's just the results. Like the results. Like how is this article still ranking?
Because it was updated in June of 24. So like that's not even a year. I mean, that's almost a year ago. But like, who are we mad? Who are we mad at right now? Who are we yelling at? Are we yelling at WP Lift, or are we yelling?
Everyone
at
is in the
Google?
crosshairs. Both of them.
No one is safe.
No one is safe. I know the folks at WP Lift. Update this damn article. Get WP MMR off the list. Get me off the list for the Matt Report. And by the way, I'm not director of podcast success at Castos anymore, right? The Kim Doyle Show.
This is a whole other conversation. Do you think that do you update all your blog posts that you say stuff about?
But this is if it's a highly trafficked, why do people do these articles to begin with? For SEO traffic.
Well, right? It's not going to happen anymore. Like this isn't going to exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the point
it doesn't even matter.
Right. The point I'm also making is yes, like when we have this new sort of AI search, it is kind of nice for these things to be these phrases to be analyzed more deeply. Now it took 4 minutes and 3 seconds for it to create this response. Let's not overshadow that either. So you're using a more expensive LLM. It took 4 minutes, where most people are going to be like, just give me the damn result, and it's going to be this shitty result from WP Lift, which is, whatever.
I don't know if it was shitty at the time they wrote it, but yeah, it's not great anymore.
Okay, you're correct. Let me scale it back. Okay, so yes, I don't mean it was shitty result. I mean in terms of like Joe hasn't done this podcast from where that trailer's listed, 2021, right? Like, come on, So anyway,
I just think we're definitely to say that though. I mean, like we're just in a weird spot now where that's going to be like that for a couple more years, and then everyone's going to just ask AI, and AI is going to pull those. The interesting thing is, where is AI getting? Like, I don't know if that one had sources. So like, is it actually aggregating the data? Is that what O3 does, or is it kind of aggregating it from listicles? Hopefully, it's deeper now, where it's actually like able to go into the platforms and kind of do a little bit of analysis on them. Like basically did what you did earlier, like search it and kind of like see, okay, this one's active, this one seems like it has a lot of views or reviews or something like that, because it doesn't have access directly to the public data unless it's, I guess, on YouTube, I'm assuming, or something. But yeah, it's times are changing.
Let me just ask. So I'm gonna say, where did you get most of the data here? What links have you or what links are you citing? Which is not the best phrase, but let's just see. Let's just see what it responds with. Says, it's creating. I'll compile a list of podcast names like the WP Minute, WP Build. So it's doing its thing.
Gotta take 4 minutes. I haven't really used O3 yet or Deep Research. Should probably do that. I should probably just lock myself in my studio when I'm done and learn everything about AI and automation.
This does say tips for staying current. This was the original result, and it says these podcast, and this is kind of also kind of a shitty statement too, but most of these podcasts published through the WP Podcast Index. This is WPPodcasts.com. I believe this is Topher's website, which is just an RSS aggregator for all, podcasts that he tracks. So one, kind of interesting that this site that generates, again, I love my friends, but when it comes to content, I gotta say, if it's not original, you're not putting any effort into it, but then all of a sudden you become the supreme source of all podcasts and you're just aggregating podcasts. Like, it's a little mind-boggling. But
aggregators, man.
So it looks at WP Podcast as the source. Congratulations, Topher, on ranking for that. Or have an RSS link to their site, subscribing through an open source app, yada, yada, yada. So I just asked for the source, and it's just showing the source of all the podcasts. Why some dates differ from the first reply. Shows like WP SEO Show and WP Briefing, latest episodes are late 2024. They're still listed as ongoing, but you may want to watch for fresh drops. All the other citations, May 2025 or late April releases, so they're demonstrably active this year. If you need direct links, any of these pages, so on and so forth. All right, so it doesn't say, like, it kind of hinted at a lot of this data came from WP Podcasts. So, anyway, yes, times are a-changing.
We got to go build an aggregator website for something else.
Hey, speaking of aggregator site,
oh boy,
what a perfect segue to close out the show. PulseWP.cc is an aggregator site that I built using Replit. We've talked about this on the podcast before. I've made some minor updates over time. So if you're looking for articles and you want to read some of the summaries, it's kind of nice. You can go in, like our friends at Pressable, read a summary of the article, which looks like I have to fix the formatting here. This is one gigantic article, but you can kind of thumb through and see which articles you like, share them directly on social media. I vibe coded that, Mark. I'm a vibe coder.
I know you're a vibe coder, dude. You're the vibiest vibe coder.
What else you got going on as we close out?
Again, introspection. Gonna finish this damn studio. Thank you, because I'm actually gonna go just buy this paint and just paint the wall now. So that's good. Definitely got that going. Finish that up. Put some baseboards in. Move my shit down there. Turn the camera on. Just keep going for it. Try to provide more value while still making money. I'm confident. I am just navigating. So that's where we're at right now.
You're confidently navigating.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Jeff, Brad, Derek, who else? I thought I saw somebody else. Robert, and that's it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out in our vibe work session. Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again
Yeah,
sometime.
we should do it again. This is great.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
awesome.
See you later.